अरे अरे क्या हेलो अस्सलाम वालेकुम मैडम। हाँ मैडम, आप मॉर्निंग में कॉल करे थे तो कॉल करा मैं। क्या क्या करेंगे? अच्छा 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 अच्छा। नहीं सॉरी, मैं वो जरा घर पे था मैं, तो उसमें नहीं उठा सका मैं। वो अब मैं क्लास में हूँ मैडम, मेरी क्लास चल रही है, अब 12 बजे से है जी। नहीं, आप क्लास छोड़ दो बोले तो फौरन आ जाता मैडम। नहीं नहीं, नको नको ऐसा। जी 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 जी, अच्छी बात है मैडम। अच्छा ठीक है मैडम, जरूर जरूर, ओके जी, खुदा। अरे क्या चुप चुप आते रहते जी। Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Are you? I think my screen is also visible. I am in presentation mode, as well as my voice is also visible, and even I am visible. Just a minute, I'm having certain some technical issues here. Anyway, yeah, now it has opened. So let's continue with the class. Sorry for the delay because there was some, took time for the system to boot up and then to open my files as well as to log into my details and everything. Anyway, let us continue with let us proceed further with these topics of web programming. Now, in the last class and over several days, we have been seeing or talking about HTML. Now, HTML, remember that by itself will not have any capability of computing anything. That is, using HTML, we cannot compute or we cannot perform any computation. We even cannot perform interaction also. HTML is basically only for the presentation purpose. The name, as the name suggests, HTML, hypertext markup language. It's not a computational language. It's a markup language. That is, whatever you mark, I mean, for example, this registration page is there. So we are marking this registration page with the tags as title, within title tag. So it will be on the title bar. In the same way, if you say, see, we are marking this roll number with the TD tag. So this roll number will be in some cell of a table because it's within the table tag. So HTML by, just remember that HTML by itself will not do anything. That is, not do anything in the sense, will not compute anything by itself. Only thing HTML does is it's useful for presentational purpose. It's useful for how you present the text or the content to the user. It may be text or it may be images, anything to the user. So now to have an interaction, to have a dynamic nature in HTML, we will be using, or what we call it as JavaScript. So to give the dynamic nature to the or to make the web pages more interactive, JavaScript is used. Again, as the HTML is a universal language that it can be written in any notepad and it can be viewed on any browser. The same way, even JavaScript is universal on the World Wide Web, on the internet. And JavaScript makes the web pages more interactive. Interactive in the sense you can have a feedback from the user. You can output something to the user and user can input something. You can validate with HTML. So there are a lot of things that can be done using HTML. And HTML, in conjunction with HTML, obviously JavaScript by itself will not work. Remember that. Remember, this is a very important thing. JavaScript by itself will not work. It's by itself, it will not do anything. You have to use an HTML with the JavaScript to make web pages interactive. Before we move further, proceed further, just remember one more thing. When we are talking about JavaScript, JavaScript is also executes. I mean, like HTML, we have an output for the HTML. The same way, even JavaScript has to be executed. But it will not be compiled into an exe file, or it will not be compiled into a.out or anything. The execution of JavaScript is handled by the web browser. It's the web browser who tries to understand the JavaScript statements and then execute those statements. Now, one more thing. When we are saying statements and execute these statements, remember that JavaScript, it is JavaScript. It's not Java. JavaScript is not Java. Remember that. It's a completely different thing. Java is completely different programming language, and JavaScript is completely different. So remember one thing, these things. Now, before we move further, we will, try to make some changes and in some places. Now here you can find, I'll just, reduce the size of this text over here so that we can, easily look at it. Now here, before we move further with the JavaScript, here, we had used something called as name as an attribute. For example, in the form tag, we have given the name of this form as F1. Here, this is roll number as a text here. If you can, observe, roll number is a text here, but we have an input field where user will type the roll number. And this input tag has a name as an attribute with the value as roll. The same way we have this name, this is the text actually. The input tag where user will be typing is nothing but sname. The name is sname, the attribute. And we have also talked that these names, name attribute, the names what we provide will be unique. For example, here I have a password. Now in this password field, suppose if I create another password, let's say confirm password. We will have confirm password. So just let me execute once more. Let us look at this thing in the web browser. If you see, we have this as the password where user will type some password over here. And then we have another field as confirm password. Here also user will type his password. And obviously these two things should match. That is the functionality here. But here in this thing, this password, this is a text which is coming from this side. This text which is coming from this side, password. But actual field where we are typing some password, it's the input tag. It's through the input tag. So here the type is password with this input tag. The name is PWD. And This confirm password. This is a text obviously which is coming from this place, and then we have an input tag whose name is also PWD. So we are having two names with PWD, which is not possible. I mean, obviously, HTML is not going to give you any error as such, because I mean, you all know, even if we misspell a tag and all, it will not give us any error. Now, this name attribute should be unique. So what we will do is, for the first password part, let it be PWD. For confirm password, what we will do is, we will make as CPWD, the name attribute, so that it is unique. So everywhere, your name attribute of the input field should be unique. Obviously, there are some exceptions that, like for radio buttons and for checkboxes, we have the name attribute as same, because this is a collection of different elements. So we keep the name attribute as same. But anyways, let us go back. Now, when we use JavaScript, along with the name, we will be using another attribute known as ID. ID is for, obviously, it's like an ID is the identification. It's a unique identifier there. And these ID attributes is used to uniquely identify the HTML elements. So, if you are, I mean, practicing or using this page, what we have created. So we have a roll number here, and then we have the input text. So in this input text, I have name as roll. Name as roll. What I will do is, anyway, even the names we are using is unique. So I'll use another attribute as ID. ID roll. So let us also have the role for the name part. For this name also, we will have the roll number, the ID, that is instead of, I mean, along with the name S name, we will have ID equal to S name. And even phone number, we will have, we have name over here. So for as a PH, let us have the ID with the same name, PH. Here also, here we have password. So with the name as PWD, we will also, along with this, we will also have ID as PWD. And even in this case, confirm password, let us have the, sorry, confirm password also, that's CMD over here. For the name attribute, we will make it to ID. ID equal to CPWD. I mean, the other things also, you can text boxes, checkbox, country, and all, you can do it. Remember that each attribute should have a unique ID. For example, here also for select, you can have a unique ID. Then for checkboxes, though the name will be one, but ID should be different. So we can call it as ID SUB1, SUB2, SUB3, SUB4. Always remember, names, even if you have a unique name, doesn't matter. Obviously, even if you have a duplicate names, it doesn't matter for the name attribute, and you have to have a duplicate name, because that is how we will be retrieving at the when we proceed further with the writing the server side programs. But IDs should always be unique. Otherwise, the JavaScript will not be able to identify which element we are referring to. So here now, if we go back, we can observe that the roll number with the name attribute as roll, even the ID attribute is roll. So JavaScript now will be able to handle, this is the roll number, obviously it's a text, but the field where we type our roll number is identified using the ID attribute, ID equal to roll. So if we use role for the ID, JavaScript will be able to identify that it is this element of the HTML. So having said this, let us move further. So always before we start anything with the JavaScript, make sure that the elements or wherever we will be applying JavaScript, those HTML elements should have ID as the attribute through which we will be able to use. Again, JavaScript is also a scripting language. And as I said, it's not same as Java. It's not a programming language. It's a scripting language. Then you don't have to compile this JavaScript. Remember that you don't have to compile JavaScript. The browser will interpret this. The script will run in the web browser, any web browser, maybe Chrome, maybe Edge, maybe Internet Explorer, Firefox, Mozilla, so and so, whatever the web browser you have. Every web browser supports JavaScript. Now, the other thing is most important is that we are saying that I mean from the beginning of this class, I'm saying JavaScript is not Java. But remember that syntax of JavaScript is very much similar to Java. Only this. The common thing is syntax of JavaScript. The common thing among Java and JavaScript is that the syntax is very much similar to Java, but it is not a Java programming language. Remember, it's not a Java programming language. Syntax is very much similar to Java. Then the most important thing is that JavaScript is a client-based or client-side scripting language. JavaScript is a client-side scripting language. Now there are two things in our side. One is the server side and the other one is client side. Server will be just one server to which all the clients will connect. On server, you will be having all this HTML, JavaScript, everything. I mean, it will be stored there as you have. I mean, if you type yahoo.com or google.com, if you type it on a browser, you are the client there, and google.com, the server. I mean, the URL which you have typed for the for server, that the actual HTML page and content is stored on that server. The server sends you back the HTML and its related JavaScript or images or whatever it is. But those things, the browser understands those and then displays them or presents to you. So here we are having two things, a client side and a server side. So server side we have not started yet. Your third unit is the part of the server side, the programming part, what we have for the server side. But as part of the web programming, we also need to look at what can be done on the client side. That is the web browser which is running on the client side. So JavaScript is the one which runs on the client side. Sometimes it is also called as JavaScript is a client-side scripting language. Also, I mean, said as JavaScript is a client-side scripting language. Now, client-side means, always remember there are two things, server-side and client-side. Client-side means the script which happens on web browser. This is the web browser. On this web browser, whatever scripting that happens or whatever programming part that happens is a client side. Okay, now once we have this theoretical part, or once we have now this, I mean, talked about this theoretical part, let us now look at how to write JavaScript or what JavaScript is and how it is written, so and so. Now, JavaScript is written directly inside the HTML, or it can also be written as an external file. Now, like CSS, we have seen CSS can be written internally as well as we can have an external file as a CSS and then import that file. Now, obviously, the advantage is what is similar to CS. The advantages of internal and external. I mean, advantage of external over internal scripting file is the same as what we have seen in CSS. If you have internally, it's for local part and all scripting. You can write external JavaScript files, which can be imported in any web page, and it will be globally visible. So those, the advantage we'll try to see later. Now let us look at how to write JavaScript internally. Now, to write JavaScript within the head tab, though JavaScript can be written anywhere in the HTML page, but within the head tab, within the head section, between this opening and closing of the head section, we need to define script. We need to use script. Script as the tag, open the script tag, and then close the script tag. Open and close the script tag. Now, within the script tag, whatever JavaScript statements we have, we need to write those statements. So anything within this opening script and closing script tag, the statements are nothing but JavaScript statements. Now, HTML, if we make a mistake in HTML and some tag or some statement and all, doesn't matter. But in JavaScript, or the statements, whatever we write within these two script tags, those statements are interpreted actually by the web browser. So we have to follow some syntax and semantics of the statements of the language. So we have to write, or we need to, have the statements in a correct form of how we write it in JavaScript. So JavaScript is interpreted actually line by line will work. What happened? Line by line it gets executed, so we need to follow certain syntax within the script tag. Even if you, nowadays web browsers are just like if you just write script, they are understanding that it's the JavaScript itself. But earlier, it's much better to define the type of the script using the type attribute. If you can see here, we have the type attribute. I'm using the type attribute here. In the type attribute, we need to provide the type of the scripting, that is text/JavaScript. Text/JavaScript. This is the value for the attribute. So for the attribute type. So when we provide this text/JavaScript, actually, why? It's much better to write this thing. Now, why? Because earlier days, along with JavaScript, we also had something known as VB script, which was developed by Microsoft. VB script. But nowadays, VB script is not used. It's only the JavaScript, which is there for providing the interactive. And as well as even in our syllabus also, we only have JavaScript. But so that is what I'm saying. If we do not provide this and we just use script and open and close tag, it's more than enough fine. But it's much better to provide the type as text/JavaScript. So this is the very first part. Now then, there is another attribute that was language. There was another attribute as language, which is part of the script tag. Now, this language attribute has been deprecated. Now, this is deprecated means no more used now. I mean, it was there earlier, but now it's not used or it's not available. So, I mean, as far as the details is there, I'm telling you that script tag has an attribute as type where we specify text / JavaScript. Then the language was also an attribute, but it's deprecated right now. What is happening? Okay. Language was also a type, I mean attribute, which was deprecated, but was there. So this anyway, this language attribute also we had to provide JavaScript. JavaScript as the language, but it's being deprecated now. So let's not go into that detail. Then there is another attribute known as differ. This differ attribute, if it is used, if differ is true or differ is false, what happens is it's used for along with, actually differ is used along with another attribute known as async, synchronous or asynchronous. That is, the web page should be loaded synchronously. The JavaScript for the web page should be loaded synchronously or asynchronously. Now, these terms, I mean, maybe very a little confusing for you for right now or time being. But remember that. Let us look at one more attribute. Now, these differ and asynchronous only works when you are having external JavaScript file. It will not work if you have internal JavaScript file. It only works if you have external JavaScript file. Now, to have an external JavaScript file, we need to use src as the attribute. There's another attribute known as src, that is for source. Now, within this src attribute, we will be, providing the file name of an external JavaScript file. For example, let's say my script. Assume that I have a JavaScript file as my script, and JavaScript files are stored with the extension .js. .js is the extension for JavaScript. .js. So my script is the file name with the extension .js. So this is my actual file, external JavaScript file. So if we are using external JavaScript file, then we need to import them in this web page using obviously the script tag with the attribute as src, and within double quotes the script as the the external JavaScript file, the name of the external JavaScript file. Now, when we are using external JavaScript, only then these two attributes come into picture. Now, these two attributes are used for, actually differ is used to specify that whether the external JavaScript file, that is this file, should be loaded or not, or should be loaded later. That is the differ. And asynchronous, that is ASYNC, async, is used to, tells the web browser that along with the HTML, start loading the JavaScript file. Now, you must be wondering, what is the need? These external files are small files, and then what is the need of using synchronous loading or asynchronous loading, or why should we tell the browser to stop loading, then defer the loading, so and so? What actually are all these things? Now, in reality, for example, what do we say? Let us take this this Google page itself. Now this Google page, I'll go to google.com actually. Google.com. This Google page looks very simple. Just only have one text field. That's all. Looks very simple. Let us inspect this page. Now I'll just not this way. Let me view the source. Are you able to look at the source over here? This is the source. Source code or the HTML code along with the JavaScript and CSS and so, just for this plain white page which only has one image and a input field and few buttons with few links and few text. That it's not a blog or something. It's just a simple Google home page. For this web page, you can see that this is what is the amount of code, including HTML along with CSS and JavaScript has been written. So let us come back here. And one more thing. In this, we may have certain external JavaScript also, which may not be loaded right now. Yeah, can you see here? This part. I'm just for your what do you call? It may not be. It may be very. What do we say? It may be very small for you, but even it might not be visible. But you can check it on your web, on your PCs or web browsers. This is this one script tag which is starting, and this script tag is coming and ending where? It's ending over here. This is one script tag which Google has written for his this page, which we only see. This index page where we only see one input field. That's all. For this simple thing, Google has written this much JavaScript. And not only that, now here you can find out, can I increase the font of this one? Yes, this also I can increase. Yeah, let me. Now you can find that. So this was the part I showed you, which is written, the blue, which I have selected is written as an internal CSS. It's there with the HTML, but there is certain thing else also as an external CSS. That is what I told you. For external CSS, we need to use src as the attribute for the script tag, and then provide the URL or the file name there. So let's come back to this example, and then this highlighted text is what Google has used as an inline. This script, starting from this script, and you can find differ is there, source is there. This is an external JavaScript. Remember, it's an external JavaScript. So whatever you have seen here, this is the just internal JavaScript, internal CSS, as well as some of the HTML tags. Now this, let me click this. Now look at it. I am clicking this link. This is the external CSS. What Google has, you can find the script tag there. You can find src tag also there. This is the script tag, and this is the src tag with differ as the attribute. This source src, I'm clicking here. So this is the external CSS he has used. And can you imagine the amount of, can you see the, I'll just, what do you call, minimize, not minimize, yeah, not minimize actually. I'll just layout. Can you see the amount of, can you see the scroll bar? I think for scroll bar is visible for everyone. Can you see the scroll bar and how much content it has? This is the JavaScript which Google has written for just this page. Just this page it has written. Just for this page, Google has written so much of JavaScript. So don't think that just this JavaScript is just a few. We may write few lines of code, but in general, it's not few lines of code. You can see the amount of code that has been written for JavaScript for just for this Google web page. This is simple web page. Okay, then let's come back. Now, the purpose of showing that was, now imagine we also have this. We also have the same way so much large uh, JavaScript, and this is the HTML page which we have written, and we have so much of JavaScript. Now, what actually happens is when I am typing this URL, the web page gets loaded. Forget about synchronous, asynchronous for time being. The web page gets loaded. First, it's the web page which gets loaded. That is this whole, this amount of, this is the HTML. This is the HTML part. Then, after that, things are done in sequence. Then after that, the external images are there. Whatever SRC attribute you may have image, those images get loaded. Now, if they are in sequence, that means even the HTML, the tags which go along in sequence, like if I have some text, that text gets loaded and it's shown, then the web page or the web browser actually waits for, if I have an image, it waits for the image to load. Then after that, I have some more text that waits for the text to load. Now, along with that, we may also be having CSS files. Like here, we have included a CSS, mystyle.css file. So this is an external file. So this external file starts loading. So your web page waits till this CSS file gets loaded. Then after that, we may have another CSS file. So again, the web page waits to show the results until this CSS file loads. Along with that, we may have a JavaScript file. Now, if the file is very small, there's no problem. It loads along with it, doesn't matter. But this external file is very large. For example, you can see this Google has written so much content, but just for this one page. So what happens is that file has to be loaded. So the web page becomes slower. That is, you may not find the content on the web page. Displayed. The web page has to wait till all the related data for that web page downloads or is retrieved in your web browser, and then web page gets displayed. Now, obviously, if the CSS files are very large, and obviously, if your external JavaScript files are very large, then it takes time for web page to display. So that is the case. We have something known as asynchronous, as well as differ as the attribute for the script type. So when external CSS are used, if differ is used, that means we are specifying that to differ loading the JavaScript file, external JavaScript file, until the HTML content is displayed. After HTML content is displayed, then the external JavaScript file can be loaded in the web browser. This is all we are talking about client side, web browser client side. Then there is something known as asynchronous. Now, if I use asynchronous, Now, asynchronous, there is something called asynchronous. If asynchronous is used, web page can continue loading. It's the same as defer without waiting for the script to load. Now, I mean, why this is also asynchronous also for speeding up the the web page, the content display, or speeding up the website. Both the defer as well as asynchronous for speeding up the website. Now, apart from defer, the async is also used in asynchronous communication using JavaScript. That is what is AJAX. You may be hearing about the term AJAX, AJAX, AJAX. Now, that is what is AJAX, that is asynchronous JavaScript communication. It uses XML also for the JavaScript communication. So, I mean, AJAX, the AJX is asynchronous JavaScript communication. So, the later in the end part of this JavaScript unit, we also have this AJAX part. So there we will try to go into details of this async, or what is the benefit of AJAX and all. We will look into that. So for timing, remember that there is an JavaScript is written within script tags, and JavaScript can be internal or an external JavaScript file. If it is internal, here itself it is written within this tag. If it's external, we need to use a source attribute with my script, with the file name, that is in this case, it's myscript.js. The extension, the file extension for JavaScript is .js. Any name you can use, doesn't matter. I'm using myscript, but the extension is should be js.js for JavaScript. And then the type is also an attribute where, it's right, this attribute is used to define what is the type of the Java file. This is text, and what is the type of the content here? It is text and JavaScript. Then we have something known as something we had seen as defer and and we have also seen something known as the attribute as defer and async. Defer and async. These are the different attributes. Now, let us first look at, I'm removing the SRC attribute here. Let us first look at the internal JavaScript. Now, this is the HTML part, this is the HTML part till the end, doesn't matter. JavaScript is written within script tags. Now, we will just write a simple statement to look at how JavaScript works, or what how things really are. Now, like your, what do we say? The output statements of your C language, which is we use a function known as printf. In C++, if you remember, we use C out. In Java, yeah, this is third year. Oh, no problem. Okay. In Java, you have used system.out.println. The same way here, we have a function known as write. Or write-ln is also there. There's a function known as write within JavaScript. Remember that. That is why I'm writing within the script tag. This function is part of document object. So we need to use document.write. And this takes a string as the output. All the statements of JavaScript will end with semicolon as in Java. In Java, statements end with semicolon. The same way even here, it ends with semicolon. Document.write. So write is a function actually, or a method which It's part of document object. Now we will look at this document object later, but first, like you have system.out.println. The same way here we are in Java, we have system.out.println. The same way here we are having document dot. Instead of println, we are having write as the method. Now in this write within double quotes, we can just display something. Now let us display hello JavaScript. I'm just writing this content. So this hello JavaScript. Now where will this be displayed? Where will it be written? I said that for an output like system.out.println in Java, I said that here we can use write method, that is document.write, and provide the string. It will display. It will display it on the output. But where is the output? What is the output? Is it the command prompt? No, it's not the command prompt. JavaScript works. Works in the web browser. Java was working on a command prompt. We were compiling and running that, so the output was on a command prompt when system.out.println is used. But here JavaScript is this. This JavaScript executes on a web browser. So when write method is written, used, whatever is there within the write as passed as an argument for this write method, that text will be displayed on the web browser or written on the web browser. Let me save this file. I think I already have this thing open. Yeah, this is the web page which we had. I'll just refresh this web page. And when I'm refreshing this web page, you can observe over here that you can find that hello JavaScript is written at this place. Now, let me do one more thing. Now, you might be wondering, why is it written at this place before any HTML tags? Let me show you one more thing. I'll just copy this. I'll just let us make this as JavaScript sample. Okay, let's say text1. I'm going to copy this JavaScript. Let me come at the end of before after the form ends. Let me again paste it here. So there are two JavaScript tags. I'm saying text2. It doesn't matter. You can have as many number of JavaScript that is the script tags as you feel like. It doesn't. It's not a rule that you should have only one JavaScript tag. Within that, you have to write everything. It's not the rule. You can have as many number of script tags as you like. So let's say JavaScript text1 is over here. This is one script. And here we have written another script which says hello JavaScript text2. Let me save this and let us execute this. You can find that on top we have JavaScript text1, and on bottom we have JavaScript text2. Now let us do one more thing. What I'll do is we have this let's say country is there. This after this part. So where is the country? This part is country TD. This part is country. This is the TD starting. This is TD closing. So within this closing TD, even here I will just have the script tag over here, and then let me say script 3, text 3s. I'll just save it and refresh it. You can find that it has come over here. So what did you observe? What did you find actually by seeing these three places we have written JavaScript? Remember, the purpose of showing you on writing at three different places is that as the HTML tags are executed, as the HTML tags gets executed line by line, and it displays the content, the same way wherever a web browser encounters the script tag, it will execute the JavaScript. It actually interprets the JavaScript statement like over here, this is the statement. It interprets this statement says that this has to be written there. This text, hello JavaScript text1 has to be written there. So wherever it encounters, there at that place itself, this text has been written. So it has been written over here, text1. Then everything, all these statements are executed. So you can find all these controls displayed. And after that, the web browser again encounters a JavaScript tag. So it will execute the statements within this tag as part of the JavaScript and then displays the result there itself. Why? Because that is the place where JavaScript is written. So we have hello text3. Then here we have hello text2. So if within JavaScript there is certain statements which computes and gives some result that has to be outputted on a web browser. Wherever the script is written, the result will be output at that place. And remember, this is just an example. We need not use JavaScript to every time output something. JavaScript is also used for validation purpose, where we may not know what happened behind. If the validation is correct, then it may proceed further. Implicitly or automatically it may proceed further. If validation is false, then it may give some result to the. So it's not always that there is a, there has to be some output in JavaScript. JavaScript it's written for various purposes. This is just an example. The first example we have seen is that the JavaScript is written within script tag. It can be internal as well as it can be an external JavaScript. Then whatever statements are there within the script tag, those statements are interpreted to be JavaScript statements and executed by the browser. Understood and executed by the browser. Let us take an example of, I said that those statements are interpreted as JavaScript statement executed. So let us take an example. This is document. Assume that I have misspelled this document as document. I'm just wantedly creating an error. I'll save this and let us execute. Refresh it. So this part is not displayed before roll number. It's supposed to be hello JavaScript text1 here, but this text is displayed as well as this text is displayed. So, the purpose of showing that this is that if there is some error in the statements, like your HTML at least displays something. But here, if there is an error, these statements below that also will not get, the statements will not be interpreted or executed. So, JavaScript follows certain syntax. So we need to now look into the details of this JavaScript language, or JavaScript scripting language, or what we call it as JavaScript client-side scripting language. Remember, always JavaScript, though there is a server side also, but JavaScript is used for client-side scripting or client-side validation. Now, like in Java, we have, what do we say? We need to define variables. We need to define we need to define variables. We need to define JavaScript. Any programming language if you take, we have first for modeling as variables, then expressions, then obviously data types. But JavaScript, we explicitly don't have to define a data type. Then we have certain conditional statements, that is if statements. Then loops are there, control structures, that is iterative loops. Then we have functions also in JavaScript. And JavaScript also has certain built-in objects that we can use. So, I mean, JavaScript is whole like a new programming language with uh, much similar syntax as Java, but very much similar syntax as Java. But obviously, there are certain other features in JavaScript which is very much different from Java. So, I mean, today's session was just a basic introduction about what JavaScript is, how script is written, and what all other theoretical part. Now, in the next session, we will go into the depth of JavaScript, and then we will look into what the whole new, I mean, starting with the variables, how to define variables, what are the variables, how to use variables in JavaScript. We will move on with the operators, how to write functions and control and all statements, loops. What is how to have string, and then there is a math class also, date class also. There are certain objects which are pre-built which we can use. So we will from the next session we will continue with the actual programming part of the JavaScript, or actually trying to look at what all things are there in JavaScript and what all we can do with the JavaScript. Then we move on with the main important part as event handling. And along with the event handling, there is another main important thing, that is pattern matching. For example, I'll just give you an example. For validation purpose, we need to validate whether this password, whatever user types here, and whatever user types here is confirm password is same. So that is not done through HTML. That has to be done through JavaScript. So this is one part of validation. Now, phone number is there. I'm typing this thing with some alphabets. Now, this is not in proper format. Or, for example, email is there, or roll number is there. I want to define a format for roll number as some 4 digits. That is like 16. What is the roll number? 1604 slash something something something. Let's say this. So I want to define a format here. 4 digits, then hyphen, then 2 digits hyphen, 3 digits hyphen, then 3 digits. Or I want to define a format for the phone number that it should only contain, I mean, digits, not alphabets. Not only that, I want to restrict phone number to be only of 10 digits, not more than 10 digits. So all this thing, and email is one more thing, where you have some characters, then you have at as the symbol, some other characters .com. So or .com or some other characters. So this is all comes into picture of pattern matching, which we will look at the this coming JavaScript sessions. So I think I have taken 10 more minutes of your time. Sorry about that. Since I had to start a little because of some this the problem, computer problem over here. But anyways, what is this? Hmm. Uh, any questions so far for the section, for the session? If there are no questions, then we will leave, or you can ask questions later in the next session also. Is it fine? Should we wind up for today's class? Okay, fine. Thank you very much. Thank you.